going to talk about Germany. The official name is Federal Republic of Germany. We are Javier Villarreal and Daniel José. Okay, Germany is located on the northwestern of Europe, and it shares there's boundaries with 9 countries. That's Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Switzerland, France, Belgium, Netherlands, and have a total area of 357,021 square kilometers. Approximately, that is proportional like the area of Jalisco, Michoacán, and Oaxaca.
So it's proportional to. Oh, very
Yes.
interesting. Okay.
And they have a coastline of 2,389
And it's it.
of each. And the capital city is on Berlin, and also in the northwest of Germany. Language. The language, obviously, the official language is German, but they also have 4 minority languages. That's Danish, Frisian, Romani, and Sorbian. But they just have a few number of people that spoke that for language. It is more common to hear English people, to hear people talking on English, Arabic, Greek, Italian, Polish, or Turkish, or Russian. And normally, the Germans, since they were kids, they have obligatory to have 2 languages in their school. The German language add a few letters to their idiom. That's is it or and umlaut, like the points up in the letters. And something that happened in that country. They have different dialects. For example, it might occur that a person of the north, when he talked to a person of the south, they couldn't understand because of the dialects. Okay. The religion. They have the predominant religion of Germany is the Christianity, with 74% of Christians, and although the number of practicing Christians is on the decline due to the 30 Years' War, and they divided in 2 sections, principally in 2 sections, the north and the east, mainly Protestant, and the south and the west, they make Catholic, and about 4% of the German population practice Islam, and less than 1% practice Judaism and Buddhism. The population of Germany, it's around around 82,590,000 people. That's on the year of 2014. Now about talking about the foreign people, the number of more foreign people are Turks with a 3.7% of the total of the population. And the density of the population is like 232 people per square kilometer. That's a little tight. Now about talking there are some values very important to the culture of German, to the German culture. One of them is the perfect organization. They always book things that they will do. They live and work under their rules.
Well, I think understanding the underlying values of the culture is very important in order to distinguish the differences between one's culture with another one, and in that way one can develop a more open-minded and tolerance about the behaviors of other persons. Well, as for the Germans, they are very sensitive to other cultures, but they also expect from foreigners to become familiar with their customs and the way they act. Well, another underlying value would be respect. Respect is always present in every interaction among them. For example, when they address any person, they usually use their title. They will go by Mr. or Miss and the last name of the person. They are only allowed to speak in the second person du, which is you in English. And if they already agreed upon between the person, if they are only very close to each other. Also, well, in the sense of communication, they are always very respectful of the position, the social position of the person, as well, and they have a very literal meaning of the words. So words should always be used very carefully with them. Also, they love privacy. So talking about personal matters, if you don't know them very well, will be very disrespectful for them. And developing a sense of community is also, it's very regulated by respect, because since all the members of the community feel comfortable with each other, they kind of develop a sense of reciprocity and solidarity between them. Also, well, honesty is essential for them. They act based on the words. If they say they would do something, they do it. So that is, I think, a building block to build a trust with someone. And in that way, people can rely on each other, and also it enhances the quality, for example, of work. So that's why I think it's a main characteristic of the efficiency of that culture. Okay, so well, now we will focus on the German business culture. The business etiquette, well, for Germans, first impression is super important because, well, it represents the seriousness and the importance that you're giving to the meeting. So it can also affect the success of a negotiation with them. Also, well, dress code should always be conservative and formal. Next, please. There are also guidelines, very strict guidelines for men and women. For example, for men, they should always use dark colored suits and ties, white shirts, and, well, a discreet watch in case people want to watch use them. Also, just as an important point, it is very important to never remove a tie or jacket before another German colleague does, because that means that you're not 100% there in the work. Next please. For women, well, it's basically almost the same. They wear dark suits, conservative dresses, white blouses, and they also use light makeup. Also, they don't wear ostentatious jewelry or accessories. Well, for them, punctuality is everything. They always get on time when they at an agreed time. For example, if they agreed a meeting at 8 o'clock, they'll be there 8 o'clock. They won't be neither at 7:59 or 8:01. It also is part of their underlying values. They all respect very much the time of other persons, and they are very grateful for receiving that space. Also, well, in case if someone is late, it is very important to call ahead and give a very reasonable explanation in order to not damage a relationship. Okay, well, the grading process for them is very important. It is important to keep in mind that there is a very defined hierarchy based on the individualism. They highly praise academic success and expertise in a specific field. I would like to make a demonstration with Daniel about how to agree with each other. For example, there should always be a distance of the length of an arm, and you should always maintain eye contact with the other person and make a firm handshake with the other person without squeezing them. Another note for women, it is always best to wait until if the woman extends the arm. In case if she does, it's best to follow the same guidelines as for men. Next, please. Okay, for business communication, there are also very important communications. I think it is important to notice that gestures among cultures, they're not universal. So one gesture that you might think that is common in your culture, it might be very disrespectful for other people. So it's important to know how they act with each other. Okay, as for face-to-face communication, facial expressions and hand movements should always be very reserved, very kept at the minimum. Also, making eye contact with another person while you're speaking is very important for them, because that demonstrates that you have interest in what you're talking about, and also it creates a sense of trust that you're trustworthy of what you're saying. Also, well, the same guidelines. It is necessary to keep a distance with them, so in order to have a comfortable environment. Next, please. As for the verbal communication, it's important to always address them by their title. For example, it should always be used Mr., Miss, and if they are introduced with an academic title, for example, doctor, it should be included as well, and last with their last name. For example, if it were Mr., it would be for a man in Germany we have Dr. Müller, and well, the tone that Germans usually use is very polite but very direct. So if people are not familiar with these, they might feel threatened because of the directness of the persons. There is no small talk with them, as I said before. They are very private people, so they don't share anything about their personal affairs. So they always get on topic as soon as they sit, and since they have a very defined schedule, they always expect a clear result after the meeting. And also, I think, well, it's a very contrast with cultures here in America. There is no humor at all. That would be considered a lack of seriousness, and that would damage also a conversation. And also, another taboo would be to talk about the Holocaust and World War II. Yeah, it would be better to maintain a neutral position in case it comes up.
Omit talking about that in politics too.
Yeah. So, next one. Okay, for another aspects of the academic of the German culture, well, they highly value academics success. Also, well, they have a high work ethic, so they are also very individualistic. They have their personal goals and they attain them. Even though it's a very developed country and it has a very highly modern democracy, the business world is dominated by men. It's changing slightly. More and more women are taking high positions within the company, but it's improving. And they're also very cautious. They have very strict guidelines, and they always stick to them. It's very rare, for example, if someone makes a decision, especially hierarchs, which are the one that makes least, it's very, very unlikely that they will overturn that.
Okay, here are some another tips. Never try if you go to Germany. Never talk about the Second World War. And be careful with the trash. That means they really care the environment. They have a specific containers to the type of trash. In some restaurants, they don't accept credit card. That's why try to pay in cash. Try to always have cash. For the service to the waiters, it is important to give a good tip. And always have an umbrella. Is the weather is weird. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's all. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much.